Every year in February, the NFL holds something they call the Scouting Combine. And this is where all of these college prospects come to Indianapolis and they do things like the 40-yard dash and a bench press and a lot of interviews with coaches and team representatives, basically everyone who has a stake in these players and who will make a decision on draft day as to whether or not to pick these players to be on their team. Well, there's this guy from San Diego State University, a running back named Muema, who attended the Scouting Combine, but then left early. And that's a really weird thing to do, barring some, major life circumstance. And he said he left because basically God told him to leave, and that if he left the Combine early, then the Seattle Seahawks would draft him, and that would be his dream come true. And this is a guy whose Twitter profile is at @so_lucrative, like he's already making the money. And in fact, his Twitter profile after that said Seahawks number 8, like he was already going to be drafted on the team. So he leaves the Combine early. And I was wondering this past weekend as the NFL draft was going on, did this guy get drafted? And did he get drafted by the Seahawks? Because that would actually be pretty impressive. So it turned out the first round went, didn't get selected. All the way through the 7th round, he didn't get selected. And not only that, if you read through his Twitter feed, early, like before the draft starts, he's like, the draft's coming up, I'm very excited. And then about midway through the draft, he says something like, well, I got a call from the LA Rams. They're going to pick me, or something to that extent. So first of all, it sounds like he just gave up on the whole Seattle Seahawks thing, but he's going to get drafted by the Rams. Well, the end of the draft came and went, 7 rounds came and went. He didn't get drafted. But what struck me as very interesting is, who the LA Rams did pick? They picked Michael Sam, the first openly gay NFL player. So much for this guy's, so much for Muema's Christianity, right? So this brings up an interesting point. What message was God sending to Muema? Was God saying, maybe you shouldn't be in the NFL? Maybe you're a little too big for your britches here, assuming you're going to get drafted. Maybe you need to step aside and, take a hit a little bit right now, and maybe you'll get drafted later. I guess there's still a possibility teams could still get him, even though he wasn't officially drafted. But I think it kind of shows that, just because God speaks to you, or you think God speaks to you, doesn't always mean you should take his advice. And maybe skipping out on a very important event like the Combine wasn't the best way for this guy to get selected in the NFL. It's also worth noting that I'm pretty sure a lot of NFL players, a lot of the ones who got drafted, are Christians. So I'm sure somewhere Muema's wondering, what did God tell them and why did he give me different advice? Why did all those other guys go to the Combine? Why did they get drafted? And by the way, if you go to his Twitter profile now, it no longer says Seahawks number 8. But it does say God first, which is still questionable, I would think, for him at this point. My name is Hemant Mehta, and I write at friendlyatheist.com. Please leave your comments below, and we will check them out.